Welcome back to TheChowTimePod. It's your host, Red. I got a video today from Tip Network. Mothers. They affect men so much. And we don't actually talk about how, young mothers, the way they dress, the way they carry themselves, really affect how young men grow up and then choose their mates. It's a really cynical cycle when you think about it. So please subscribe down below. I'd really appreciate it. Let's get to that chow. It's chow time.
The ignorance of man when it comes to choosing a woman. Most men do not know how to choose a woman worthy of anything. Most men took a hoe that they have grown fond of and gave the rights to his body, money, and heart to her. I don't know a lot of men who chose a woman that really got their back and down for them. This is a problem. If we don't know how to pick a real queen and hold her up in the air, how is society gonna grow? Most of us are with the whole that we wanted.
You know how to identify a real queen?
Hell yeah, we ain't got none.
I don't think we are honest when it comes to our true experiences with the women, no matter how much we love them in our lives. And that goes from girlfriend to mama. We're not honest about who they are because we let them get away with stuff. And this is the worst thing. The mama is the closest thing to love that you might get. And I ain't saying all mamas love their kids. Mama.
I agree. This is probably the closest you'll get from a woman. Is your mother. And he's right. Not all all mothers are good mothers. So you experience this first love in a good way or a bad way, and either way it affects you greatly as you grow up.
Mama do so much scaring. Your mama is supposed to be your information highway to hoe. Ain't nobody supposed to give you more game on hoes than your mama. But in America, your mama side with the hoe. And why you think she do that?
You're one of them.
That's what I used to do. Nothing was gonna be my nigga. Nothing. So for a bitch to motherfucker, I don't deserve. That's when I know they fucking because they do not fuck. This shit is suicide. Nobody wanted to know me. Nobody wanted to fucking help me, my nigga. Nobody wanted to help me put me on Love and Hip Hop. Niggas wanted me to be stuck in the street.
Greetings, you polite savages, and welcome to another Tip Talk. You see, the male delusion also exists. We talk about female delusion a lot here, but because the absence of masculine figures, because the absence of an actual real woman in a household, a lot of men just don't know how to pick women. A lot of men find themselves in a position of picking someone that maybe they're just attracted to, and maybe they make them feel a special way, make them tingle in their sackles, and then they say, hey, this has to be me for the rest of my life. And what happens? They wind up getting with someone.
Yeah, it's funny. We talk about this for women, how they always choose men that give them the tingles. Well, men do the same thing nowadays, especially young men that grew up without fathers. Any woman that gives them that tingle, especially nowadays, is even worse because it's any woman that gives them attention. They'll jump on it, marry these women, and just get screwed over for life, in a sense, when it goes to these horrible marriages. It works both ways, guys. We gotta vet, men gotta vet better, women gotta vet better. But it's hard for both of them when they don't have those figures around to kind of tell what is a good father, what is a good mother, what is a good husband, what is a good wife. Because the first signs of it is from your actual parents and the people around you. All of my aunts and all of my mother were good mothers. They worked very hard to support the family. They worked very hard to help provide for the family. All the fathers were good fathers. There's actually no divorce in my family except for my actual mom and dad. Everybody else has made it through, or they were widows and my aunts that became widows stayed widows their whole lives. So it is a different perspective in my side, how I see women, which type of women I like, gravitate towards more than some of the other communities out there, especially the ones that were born with, not born, but raised with single mothers, or you were raised by another, like, parent or another family member, like your grandma or your aunt or things like that. It's very tough, especially if those figures were not good figures.
Who does nothing but use everything they can to destroy this man once they figure out that he is not what they thought he was going to be. Or even worse, they find a mercenary woman who takes everything they have and absconds with it.
Oh.
But you see, a lot of men just wouldn't know how to pick a woman, and Corey Holcomb points this out expertly.
Another problem in society that is never addressed on the Oprah Winfrey Show, the Dr. Phil Show. They have all these topics that, in my opinion, are just predictable. But you know what they don't talk about? The ignorance of man when it comes to choosing a woman.
Good and kept up, real ghetto bitch, bankrupt. I want to
You guys, people listen to this stuff?
Cause he was too hard for that.
The younger generation, just especially with the women just showing their skin, twerking. And why do you think that more younger people now want to walk around talking about sex?
See, here, let me give you a nasty imagery and gangster hip-hop rap video. Feminists get upset because it says it's men fantasizing about sexual dominance. That's not what it is. What you see up there half naked is the Oedipus complex. They're in love with their mamas as a fantasy. That's not their sexual objects. That's what their mamas look like, their favorite aunts look like, their grandmammies look like, great-grandmammies look like, and all of the friend girls that get mixed up in that. That's what they look like in July when they're hanging around on the back stoop of the projects with a halter and booty shorts, drinking a 40 ounce and smoking a joint.
A lot of those artists do come from the project.
And that's their mamas. And see if they had street cred, there it is. Psychological mixture of resentment of mama for messing you up, but you've been taught, you think, to love her, but you haven't been shown why. So you got a love-hate thing.
Damn. Shout outs to Judge Joe Brown. He said it 100%. Society kind of tells you you probably should stay away from these types of women. But as you grew up, these are the type of women that were surrounded by. These are the women that kind of loved you and you kind of fell for, because these are the representation of your family and your mothers. So a lot of these women that dress the way they dress, get the attention the way they do, especially with social media and things. Of course you're going to try to emulate that with the Oedipus complex. Even me, I would assume I like shorter women, like 5 or shorter, just because my mom was only 5 foot. I always gravitate towards shorter women, and luckily Asian women happen to be really short, so it works out for me. But I've noticed that, and I don't think it's because I choose short women or anything, but I do know that my mom was really short, and hugging my mom, it was a certain height difference, and it feels comfortable when I hug someone, a woman that fits about that height difference. I don't know, these little things are just wired into us, especially men, to want women that kind of somewhat fit the demographic of our mothers. Maybe not the full looks, but maybe the attitude, maybe whatever it is, how they dress and things like that. Like, my mother never dressed anything crazy, so I've never been attracted to women that dressed provocatively. I was kind of a little bit disgusted by it. So it makes perfect sense that men are cross-wiring what they're seeing with their mothers and seeing what the world's out there, because so many mothers out there are exactly what the women are out there, and they're not good examples.
Going on that direction for your mama and your grandmama. You have another one too, because your mama's always presented as a physical object around and about you, even if not directly towards you. So you got a real sick thing about how you relate to your image of your mother. It's really crazy.
And like the judge said, when you look at this and you think of it in this way, what examples do men actually have to pick from? They don't have the decent ladies to pick from anymore.
Not
what
anymore.
are they picking from? They're picking from people who look like the women they are accustomed to, their aunties, their mothers. And we all know what these women are.
This is why I love Passport Bros. You know, how a lot of people are kind of wired to see these types of women. These are the women you're surrounded yourself with. When you travel overseas, you finally get to see something else. And it's not just a different state where you see different people and they act slightly different. No, it's a whole different culture, a whole different background, a whole different everything. And you're like, oh, it's not the way it is. This is not how it is in my community or in my country. This is not the way it is with the women around me, the women I've always associated with. They're so different. It opens up your eyes. It really does, guys. It really does.
Wearing nowadays. And this is the problem when your mom is maybe 15 years older than you and your grandma is 30 years older than you. You are going to have these type of problems in the community.
Ladies, stop walking around your sons butt naked. It is emotional, and whether you want to believe it or not, I give zero fuck I offend in this video, because the reason why we have a nation full of toxic men with mommy issues is because their mommies are toxic. And
this is a good topic because I used to watch Malcolm in the Middle when I was growing up, and Lois always, was topless in a lot of scenes and a lot of things at home. I really do agree that does affect boys in a bad way. It gives boys this arousal towards their mothers, which shouldn't be, and then there's a second one where it seems like mothers are given the okay to do these things because your mother did okay to do these things. I meant it gives women the okay to do these things. So when you see women that are scantily clad or kind of showing off their chests, you don't think anything weird of it because it was normalized in the house that you grew up with.
And it's time that we start exposing these toxic mommies for the shit they expose their sons to in their early childhood, causing them long-term trauma. When they become adults, they take this trauma that they have towards their mamas, the trauma that their mamas created, and they punish their wives and girlfriends for it. But as they approach 5 years old, during kindergarten, you don't need to be walking around your sons naked. And you don't need to let them sleep in the bed with you. You have to draw a boundary.
That's
because
awkward.
This is how it's affecting boys. And it's long-term damage that is caused by their mammies.
We on that hoochie mama shit. We don't give a fuck. You already know.
I mean, just like things like this, like all the social media posts, all these things, especially mothers that really talk crap about having kids, talking crap like, oh, they took my life away, like I didn't get to live my, like, sooner or later these kids will get to see this. I almost guarantee just how the internet works. And when these kids do, especially if they see it at like 12, 13 years old, when they're still trying to figure things out, it would be devastating for these young men and women. Again, this affects a lot of women too.
Now, I am ready for the sisterhood and all the e-simps who just are trying to smell a panani, just trying to get a little taste to come and say, this woman has a right to say whatever she wants. And you are absolutely correct. We live in a society where you have free speech. However, your free speech does not inoculate you from the consequences of such speech. Your free speech doesn't inoculate you from criticism.
Life was miserable. Like, I was living with my baby daddy mama. Like, I just, wasn't, when you just ain't where you want to be at in life. But then I came out of that. I got my own house. And then my baby daddy was cheating on me. Like, it was a whole bunch of stuff, And I had just had my son. Like, postpartum, be real.
And how did you find out he was cheating on you? You went through his phone?
Yeah, I go through phone.
Rap wasn't working out. What were you doing to make money?
I used to do her. Everybody named mama her, literally. Grannies, ops. I done had It's beefing, and they in my house, but I ain't know they was beefing. You know, like.
But let's look at the truth of the situation. All of your followers are now thinking they can live your lifestyle. They're now thinking that they are going to be rich if they live that way. I would not believe this 20 years ago, but in this dusty era, people are monkey see, monkey do. They don't understand, like we did when 50 Cent came out with Get Rich or Die Trying. We said, oh, we may actually die trying, so we better have a backup plan.
You know what? That was exactly what I thought in my head. Like, yeah, it's a possibility of dying.
We're not going to be able to be an entertainer, possibly. Maybe we should get some education. Maybe we should take care of our genetic material and not have a bunch of kids because that's a drain on finances. Maybe we should not have a bunch of kids, the ladies, because that makes you less valuable on an open marketplace and less able to snag the man you want. But now we live in an era where we defend the indefensible and we fail miserably.
That we do.
When your son becomes old enough to watch television and he sees certain commercials and certain things on television, everything is sexualized on TV. He's going to start feeling a certain way towards the things, specifically women that he sees on television and women that he sees out in the community, even his school teachers. His first attraction towards women is his mother. And it is on you, his mother, to create a boundary and say, hey, son, and this is subconsciously, hey, son, I'm not your girlfriend or wife. You are not to lust after me. I'm your nurturer. God put me here to be your protector and nurturer, but that's where it ends.
So even if you see it in
it's hard. There's a lot of mothers there that raise, son husbands. Like I see this quite often, and I hear the stories about it. People message me back and forth, and when mothers are raising their kids, their boys to be, the replacement husband because, they know they're probably never going to get married to a good man. They'd rather raise this kid to help take care of them when they grow up. These men have a very, very hard time to separate, do I have to take care of my mother? Or, can I go live my own life? Or is this, or the woman that I fall with or, get with is going to have to accept, that my mother's always going to be in my life kind of thing. And it really just messes men up.
hip-hop culture, where it's pervasive in the music. This new wave, new age adult entertainers providing spicy services are directly influenced by not only this music, but also by the dances accompanying the music on social media, where I'm sure some of you guys, you go on Twitter or do a quick Google search, you'll find girls of all sorts of colors, sizes, creeds, and shapes, performing the same acts, pushing the same messages from hip-hop culture, mainstream music. And these men, these simps, they engage in these parasocial relationships with these spicy workers, readily giving away their attention, the resources away to these women. These ladies use their sensuality to extract the most resources out of men, getting this toxic feedback where the worst of behaviors, so-called empowerment and sensual liberation, creates the worst of outcomes, like being single mothers, having multiple partners, contracting different transmitted diseases, becoming more masculine, and disrespecting the very idea of femininity. So I know every average guy out here, or majority, like to watch and look at spicy pics and spicy videos, and throw a couple dollars at these spicy workers. I'm not here to pocket watch you, but I'm going to tell you my frustration how some of these guys, the ones that will spend thousands and thousands of dollars on these women, where some of these girls are using AI avatars, pre-scripted texts, or even a man pretending to be her to get money out of these dudes. Yet these guys are simps simping away on these ethos. What's crazy to me is that there's some of you that won't even put money back invested into your own personal and self-development. These kind of guys, these simps, they are hurting themselves by not investing in themselves. But to the guys, to the men, to the polite savages that are staying on code, the Tip Network rocks with you.
Damn right.
You guys out there that's spending more money on these spicy workers than on investing in yourselves, you simps, with that mother simp chip goddess chip in your brain, you're making it hard for yourself, because these ladies ain't gonna respect you, nor is she even gonna let you get a whiff of it. All you will be is right behind the men that are staying on code.
Narcissistic women create nasty codependent, enmeshed relationships with their son, and it messes their son's minds up long term. And then when they get married, they punish their wives and they mistreat their wives and treat their wives like their mothers. They take their anger that they have for their mama out on their wives and their girlfriends, and it needs to stop.
That's all I got for you, you polite savages. Like
Whew, that was some fire, Chow. Shout outs to Grover and Scott for always producing great videos. Give them a like and subscribe down below, guys. I always put their stuff down there. And just this topic, men simping, especially for women that, it resembles their mother or resembles the women that are really around them, aunties, favorite aunties, and things like that. It makes total sense. This is why men really need to travel outside of their bubble, outside of what they've been growing up in, just to see the difference. I mean, you don't have to be a passport, bro. I'm not saying you have to be. But when you go out there and just travel and see some of these things, it will open up your mind so much that I don't see very many men would want to stay around too much and just keep battling what you're battling. I'm just stupid. I want to battle still here. And again, my family does vet a lot of women in Cambodia for me. So, I'm in a different position. So please subscribe down below. I really appreciate that. And I'll catch you guys next time. Ciao.